Welcome to Off the Record, and I'm here with Rabbit Cult today. So, could you guys introduce yourselves?
Hello, we are Rabbit Cult. We are a bunny metal duo. I'm Salla, I play kantele and I sing. And
And I'm Marianne, and I play everything else: drums, guitars, bass, synths, etc.
yes, and we make our songs together.
Yes.
Well, first of all, you guys are, of course, now called Rabbit Cult, and you are no longer Saruru. So, just to get started, can you tell me your origin story, kind of from when you guys decided to start making music together up to today?
Mm, yes, I kind of started Saruru, which was the before this cult thing happened when um when it was COVID basically, and I had lots of time, and I started thinking about what I would really, really want to do because nothing would be giving me pay, like salary
Mm.
at that point. So I was like, I can do anything at this point. And so I came up with this bunny metal thing. And I was actually posting to Instagram stories about female drummers,
Mm.
and that's how we got in touch with Marianne because uh, multiple people were recommending you
Mm.
as a very talented and good drummer,
Mm.
and we started talking, and um, this started as kind of my solo project back then, but as it evolved into this duo, doing everything together, the music and like everything, we kind of felt the need to start over and change the name as well.
Mm.
And you actually came up with the name.
Yeah, it was like one sleepless night, and I was trying to figure out that great new name for us, and then the words rabbit cult came to my mind, and yeah, I kept it with myself for some time, basically asking signs from the universe that if this is the right path to go. And then we went on a night walk
Mm.
on the other night, and then a rabbit ran right towards us, stopped and stared at me like, yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, this is the sign. And I told
Yeah.
Salla.
Yeah, and I don't think anything like we had been thinking about the name change back then for a year or something,
Mm.
and nothing had really felt right. But this just was emailed like, okay, I want to be in a rabbit cult, and that's how we started
Yeah.
basically rabbit cult.
So, under the name Saruru, you had this song called Girls, and I
Yes.
remember, I think I saw you guys at, it was a Frozen Factory show, was it maybe last year? And I was like, Saruru, that was one of those bands that I was supposed to check out and that I forgot about. And then I went and listened to it and I was like, oh, this is actually great. I love this.
Thank
This is
you.
so fun. So are all of the Saroro songs sort of in the past now, or do you think they might get revamped or remade for Rabbit Cult?
We actually had two EPs out as Saruru, but because of record label stuff, we had to take them down back then. And at the moment, we haven't really decided this is like that we will do it or won't do it, but we obviously do have the possibility of releasing some of the already previously released songs or remake them and then
Mm.
release them. So that's on the table, kind of like, will we do it or
Mm.
will we not? We haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
I guess you see how it feels when the time comes. I
Yeah,
guess.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned that you were looking for a female drummer, and I just happened to think about that, and I was thinking that I only know one other female drummer other than you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
do you have any thoughts on why it's still so rare to find women like, playing the instruments in rock and metal bands as opposed to just singing?
I think the reason is in our, teaching methods and, when, society, little girls always, they put them to play piano or sing or
Violin,
stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not like that you play drums or guitar.
It's not
Yeah.
like recommended, kind of.
Yeah.
Like if you are a girl and are thinking if you should start playing something, it's always maybe you should play the violin or harp or some flute or something pretty. I think it's like those more aggressive instruments are still seen as masculine.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And it sucks.
Well, yeah, I was just as you were talking thinking about how, yeah, I suppose it's almost like I've never thought about instruments as having like gender preferences,
But they
being
do.
like masculine or
Yeah.
feminine, but you're totally right that,
Yeah.
oh, what were the instruments that I played as a kid? Piano and violin.
Yeah, and like when I was starting music school, I think the options were flute or kantele or violin, and those are all very girly instruments
Yeah.
and kind of like very pretty, very
Yeah.
soft, subtle.
Feminine.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
And that's why I don't think many like tell their little kids to go to a rock and roll school and play drums or electric guitar or whatever. But they should.
Yeah. I mean, it would be probably entertaining to hear my parents' take on hearing so many Iron Maiden songs played on the violin. I could play everything up until the solos, and then I'd be like, well, this is too hard, never mind. But I think I could play the Klansmen from start to finish on the violin, and my parents just had to endure so much.
Oh
of
my
that.
god. That's great.
That's great. Yeah, exactly.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah. But how did you end up playing drums?
I had a great teacher,
In school?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, in school. I was in a third grade, I think. And we had to try every instrument on the class. And then I played drums and I was suddenly somehow good at it. I figured it out pretty soon when I started. And then it was the instrument for me.
Yeah.
Then I started to play it.
So is that your first instrument that you learned, or did you know anything before that?
No. Drums were the very first.
I think there's something cool about that, like getting you really in touch with the rhythm first thing is. It's sort of like if you're going to learn every instrument, I feel like maybe that's the way to go because you're starting from like the deep rhythm section and then working your way up from there.
Yeah, definitely. But my parents kind of failed on the not aggressive thing because even though kantele is like so pretty and all that, but because I played through the guitar pedals and everything, it's suddenly quite not cute.
So our parents can start a sort of support group for the aggressive, pretty little girls.
They should.
I had to keep my Iron Maiden posters on the back side of the door so that when it opened, my mom wouldn't have to look at them.
Oh, right. Yes.
Well, I've also been noticing that since you guys switched to Rabbit Cult, you've been doing a lot of just like really interesting stuff on Instagram with these reels and telling little stories and things like that. So I was curious, is that just all your own idea, or have you had any help with that, or how's that been going?
It's just us been brainstorming a lot.
Yeah. I don't know how we started filming the small clips, but we just kind of I think we thought we would make like YouTube videos.
Serious, yeah.
Yeah, but then we ended up making the reels because I think it worked better when I started editing them, and it was so fun to make like these very super short clips of just something fun.
Yeah.
Well, I like it too, and it works in that sort of modern social media sort of way where it really likes these shorter clips that people can just like, oh, hey, they're interesting, like watch this short video and then you can think to look back later, is there something else to watch or listen to?
But we also wanted to make some like small twist of our own, like it's not just we say some random like things or do some mikä haaste, like challenges or something.
Yeah.
But except we basically just talk about our music, but make it
pretty interesting.
like make it
Yeah.
more fun.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
I love that, and I think that's what I like about it is that you guys look like you're having fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's kind of the point of this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's why I started this, like because I just wanted to have that one project that would be just fun. It would be everything we wanted to do, or I wanted back then, and now we.
Yeah.
I love that, and it shows off a lot of personality, which is I think maybe something that, as someone who's been doing music journalism for so long, things start to kind of blend together after a while. So I really like things that show like something weird or different, or just some bit of personality that makes me remember you above other acts.
Yeah, I guess we stand out a bit with the
Yeah.
ears and everything.
A bit, I think.
There's lots of different types of metal. I haven't come across funny metal yet.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Talking about inspirations, then, you guys have talked in some of your videos about just generally like the shitty things in life. You know, I suppose really it's a lot of the time with art, you're just talking about things you've been through or things you see around you. So, like, is there anything really specific in there that you feel particularly drawn to talk about artistically?
I think at least what we already actually discussed about, I feel like it would be super important to like tell younger people, like especially girls, that they can start playing like whatever they want to and do whatever they want to. They don't have to fit in the like mold of being cute and girly all the time, even though if they want to they can do that as well, but it doesn't have to be just that. And that's at least one very important thing for me, because it has been on my, like, it has affected me as a person a lot to always have to be someone who is cute and pretty, and that's it, nothing else. But I guess what we also talk about a lot is in general like sexism in music business, but everywhere, like in general. And actually I think a good example of this is one of the videos we posted, in which I was talking about what inspired me to write our single Cute AF, and I just said pillu, like vagina, on the video. And I think
I remember that.
yeah, and I think that solely because of that word, it has now gotten like insane amounts of views, because people are
hate.
because people are infuriated with it. It's insane. Like just saying that one word of like female like body, it's people are going crazy.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
If you had said dick, probably no one would have
no one would have,
away.
like no one would have cared, but because I said pillow, then it's like the world just exploded.
My, I think like sometimes I feel like we haven't grown at all as a species in like hundreds of years. That like half of humanity has one, and yet you still get shocked when you hear the word.
It's
wild.
So wild, exactly.
Yeah.
Also talking about your reels, and maybe we've talked a little bit about this already, but I just love the way you guys talk about how you inspire each other, because again, it's very like heartwarming, and it's I like the vibe you guys put off, that it's about like teamwork and love, and but also standing up for yourselves. And I feel like you guys have this vibe of like nobody fucks with either of you without fucking with both of you. And I love that.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but it is correct. Like I feel very inspired by how hard you work, like not only just music but everything else as well, like how you make yourself better all the time, and like learn and take your time to educate and get better and everything. And it's like not just music but also music. I feel like you have grown so much during this time we have known, like both as a person but also as a musician and a songwriter. Like the songs you have been writing during this time, and especially like the like latest ones, they are so insane, and especially compared to the things I've heard from you before, it's so cool and it's so inspiring.
Thank you.
Yes, but it's the best part of doing together because you can grow together and get better all the time and learn from each others and all that.
And I think we complete each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when we make songs, it's very often that you make something and then I continue it and make something more of it, and then it's just like a puzzle of both of our pieces, kind of. It's the best way we have found to work together. Yeah.
I love that. Like, as a writer, I am sort of like still looking for my artistic soulmate, because I do think that while I'm perfectly good writer on my own, like having another perspective and having someone you can bounce ideas off is so nice. And I feel like I would probably be a stronger artist if I had like someone I could art with like regularly, you know.
But that's actually a very good word to describe, like artistic soulmate. I definitely feel like that with you. Yeah, because I get that truly. Like when you make songs or writing or whatever on your own, I used to do that for the longest time. It's kind of one thing, and then it's your own bubble and everything is just other people outside, but you are in my bubble kind of.
You too.
Yeah, so they are like entwined, but obviously we are in our own bubbles as well, but that's kind of the beauty of it, that they partly like have this connection.
Yes.
Well, now you guys with Saruru had this kind of like kawaii anime girl sort of look, and I think like this kind of reminded me of how I used to draw my characters for my fantasy stories when I was a kid, because I used to draw that, like, I started drawing like characters from Legend of Zelda, so it was like Link, who was very anime style.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
then as I started to draw more, I wanted them to be a little more realistic, a little more unique, a little cooler looking, and so I started adding more detail, not like big giant googly eyes anymore and things like that. And somehow your look change kind of reminded me of that, starting like with this very cutesy like anime look, and then like bringing some other things in there as well, with like the cool makeup and the like coats and everything. So was the move away from that more kawaii look intentional? Like, were you trying to steer away from the cutesy look and add some darkness into that, or how did it develop?
I think it was, we kind of started drawing more inspiration from our own roots, from the Finnish mythology, and like we both love going to just for a walk on the forests or something, and love the forest mythologies and like all the Finnish like fairies and gnomes and giants and all that kind of elf things. And I think that was how we started building this aesthetic. But I think just the bunny ears, they still make the kawaii kind of like twist to it, so it's not like it's completely gone, I feel like. But we've taken more inspiration from like our own roots this time.
Do you guys feel like you have stage personas with like the light bunny and the dark bunny at all, or is it just an aesthetic look?
I think it's natural. You are like more like colorful, and I'm this like Satan's friend.
Yeah, it's funny like when we've gone outside, especially in the winter, because you have the dark, like completely black coat, like the mikä on toi untuva takki, like very thick like coat, and my coat is completely pink, and so it's like we just, it's not like yin and yang, but it's like kind of
something sick around
sick around.
You guys balance each other nicely. It's great.
bing and boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's kind of natural. Like you're more dark of an aesthetic. I mean, I have black clothes on as well, but yeah.
I guess you haven't just released your first single. It came out like a month or two ago at this point, but
Yeah.
it did tickle me kind of just right. It came on a good day when I needed that sort of thing, and you know, the
Nice.
like sensual moans and then the angry growling. It's just like, again, as someone who myself likes to push people's buttons and limits and stuff, it's just it tickles me in the right spot. So
Happy to hear.
you guys have mentioned the story of Aino from the Kalevala as one of the inspirations. Were there any other stories from Kalevala or other like folklore or anything that also contributed to that angry feminist outburst?
I think there are loads of very interesting characters in Finnish mythology and also other mythologies, but one that just came to my mind as an example is Louhi, the like leader of Pohjola in Kalevala. She's like a very matriarchal and very powerful, and like she can do anything, and I feel like you have that Louhi vibe in you. You even have like I bought you these louhetar like Louhi earrings, and there's also like a like what is it in
necklace?
Yes. But yes, you're like the Louhi, and then I'm like maybe more of the Aino who is like, I'm not going to marry this Väinämöinen old guy and fuck you, and I'll rather drown myself than be with you, kind of vibe. Yeah. Yeah. And then you can just fly around in the sky because you're Louhi and you can do magic.
Yeah, and you can marry me instead.
Yeah,
you know?
true. Yeah, I can do that.
It's also good. Like, I'm glad more people are just digging up these things and showing, like, hey, actually, we do have women in our folklore from before these, like, colonial religious times, and women weren't always supposed to be pretty and submissive.
Yeah, exactly. And even I was just reading about Lilith, the first wife of Adam in the Bible, and how like she was a huge badass. Like, to be honest, like, and she wasn't made of the bones of Adam. She was made of the ground also. Like, they were equals, and that's why she like wouldn't submit to Adam and to be underneath him when they would like have sex or whatever. But instead, when she was supposed to kind of submit, she took off and went away and started her own demon like cult or yeah.
One of the things I really like about this single is that, like, I feel like the song is intentionally like edging the listener by not finishing these thoughts, by like leaving off that one word at the end and then just having like a sound or something like that. So was that intentionally supposed to be kind of alluring like that?
Absolutely. Like, absolutely. I at first I had this censorship noise at the points where it just like leaves off like you do beep. But then we took that out at some point, and like there was the moaning and the peep at the same time as well. But the censorship noise kind of got replaced with the saxophone. So that's how that went. But yes, I absolutely wanted to like, because kind of it could be anything. And I don't want to say what I was like kind of thinking about it, but it just felt like right to do it this way, because there are so many kind of fantasies you can put in there. Kind of.
Well, that's interesting, because I had on my list of questions, like, is there like the explicit version of the song somewhere? Like, does that exist? But now I kind of like the fact that I don't know what words you were thinking of.
Like it could be anything, and you can interpretate it yourself. It can be anything. I think it can be anything. It doesn't really matter what I was thinking, to be honest. But I had a couple of things that I have there, definitely.
Well, yeah, because that's just it. I was thinking, like, the whole time I'm listening to the song, I'm like, what word goes there? And then it started to
Yeah.
be like, it could be so many things.
It could be anything. And I actually never wrote down those. Like, I started with, yeah, I know what's in there, but I'm not gonna write it. I'm not even gonna write it. I have none of those words, like, nowhere.
And
Yes.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
There's just something about like the kind of tease and the way it makes you think, really, that like, what could this be?
And also, does it have to be like sexual kind of? Like, obviously the moans are, but it doesn't have to necessarily be that. It can be like literally anything else, and that's kind of the fun in that.
Well, sure, yeah, you can think of it in this like feminist sort of like taking back sex for women sort of way, but you can also think of it as like pageant girls who've been like forced to like dress up pretty and
Exactly.
like for their whole lives.
I love having like multiple kind of levels in lyrics, and the like the less you can say and like deliver the message with, I think the better, because then it can have so many levels. And I can think of this song in like from so many different angles. Like, it can be about just the feminism, or it can be something like specific, or it can be about like your relationship or anything, basically. And that's how I also keep the songs fresh for myself, because when I write them, I might be in one state of mind, but maybe 10 years from that I will not think like that anymore, and then I can myself bring something new to the song by thinking, oh, maybe now it means this.
That's wise.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the more ambiguous it is, then the more you can kind of fit it into different circumstances in life.
Exactly.
And then it has more appeal, I think, to more people as well. who
That's
can
nice too as well.
Yeah.
That's a plus.
Yes.
That's a plus.
Hopefully, at least more people can relate to it because of the mystique to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and you guys recently made a music video for it,
Yes.
and I kind of love the combination of intense lighting and these like forest backgrounds, and then also like the little bunny toys.
Yeah.
Since music videos are kind of notorious for not necessarily relating to what the song is about, do you consider that more of an introduction or like a display of the song, or more of a display of you guys?
I think it's a display of the cult.
Yes.
Like, it's about rabbit cult, I think. Yeah.
So Cute AF is sort of like the anthem for Rabbit Cult. If you're into this, then you're into our vibe.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. It's like an introduction to rabbit cult,
Yes.
I think.
Well, I think just like the video actually looks really cool, just the way it's shot and everything.
Thank you.
So did you do that just like in a forest somewhere, or tell me a little bit about making the music video?
Well, we made it with Frame Noir Productions and Viltsu from there, and or actually it's Vin Valentina, the name of
Artist name.
name, yes. But we were filming at my best friend's backyard, basically.
Yeah.
in what's
Myrskylä.
Yeah, they don't have the place anymore, so it was like they were moving away from there from like just in 2 weeks or something. Yeah, so that was our last chance to go there, and we really wanted to do it there because the place was absolutely like
stunning,
insane. And we filmed for 2 nights there. We were filming at night because we wanted the like lights, which you were talking about, the weird lights. And so we basically just filmed in the middle of the night and had these like lights outside, and it was freezing,
and smoke,
and it was freezing cold. And yeah, it was so much fun, and I loved filming it with both of you. It was so nice. And I don't know, do you have any like specific memory from there?
It was really nice to film on the night. It gave like some kind of a magical perspective there also. Yeah.
That must have been really like time sensitive too, if you're going for that kind of blue hour from when the sun is setting until it's like
Yeah.
total darkness.
Yeah, because in
Yeah.
summer in here it's such a short time period. I
Mm.
think the sun was setting around 10.
No, it was 2 or 3.
Yeah, but it started to set like
Yeah.
the dusk started to come like a bit after 10 p.m.
Yeah.
and then it was already completely daylight at like 3
4.
3 4
Yeah.
a.m.
Yeah.
So and like completely dark was only just 1 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we had to really like
Work.
and schedule everything kind of like what is
Yes.
important to do.
Yeah.
It's always the ones that make you suffer a little bit that are the best, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
Oh, and we also painted the phone and some other stuff pink.
Yeah, the radio.
Radio, yeah. So we had just this very old radio and this old, or actually it was like a
Office phone.
office phone, but
Yeah.
it was like a small cell phone, but in this form, kind of.
Yeah.
And we painted them pink. I got yeah.
Well, you guys also just had your first show as Rabbit Cult at the festival after party in Turku recently.
Yeah.
So, how did that go?
It was amazing.
Yes, it was so
Yeah.
nice. The crowd was so lovely. They were just with us the whole time, shouting
And dancing and
yeah,
all.
it was so
Yeah.
nice. I loved every second of it, and I think it was a very good start for this cult to like begin. And the next show, we have so many ideas already. Like immediately after the gig, we were like, "This we are going to do better next
Yeah.
time," and I want to do this and this and this. And now we have so many ideas, and we'll like in this autumn we will have one gig at least in Helsinki. So
Yeah.
that's when we are going to make everything even more crazy.
Yes.
Excellent. I'm sorry I missed that because I really would have liked to go, but I'm selling merch
No
somewhere
worries.
No
else.
worries. Maybe you'll come in Helsinki now in autumn.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So now that we're wrapping up, there's one potentially a little bit longer question I wanted to ask because mentioned in, and I'm not sure how to recap this properly, but in one of those reels, it was a question of sort of like, what advice would you give to artists making art? And the answer was don't. And but I love that because that would have been my answer too if you had asked me. And
Yeah.
so I kind of wanted to talk about that because it's like I wanted to be an artist from when I was like 13. Like I realized that making stories and telling stories came really easily to me. And I'm 37 and I have still not fulfilled that dream as per how I would have imagined it. And so I kind of feel that, like, if I were to suggest to anyone else who wants to be an artist, don't do it. Find something else you like doing and do it as a hobby or something. But so I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on that a little bit more deeply. Like, why is don't your kind of first and foremost advice?
Actually, this is advice from my mom, who is I think she gave it to me when I was very young already, like a kid. I think 5 or whatever. Like, and that's when I said the first time that I want to be like a singer when I grow up, and like around that time, I think she said that to me. And she is, or she was back then, like an actor, and and her point was that if you don't have to, like if it's not like you absolutely have to, then don't, because it's so rough and it's so hard and it's so challenging and it takes all of your energy and drains you like a vampire, and then you die. And that was her point, that if you absolutely have to, then of course you go 100% for it, but if you don't have to, then don't do it for yourself. And I think that's a very good advice, because if it wasn't for me that I absolutely have to, I would have quit already, and then it would have been kind of like wasting my time trying it. But because it's like I have to do it, it's just that I have to do it. There's no other choice.
And then you get a good lawyer.
That was your point of advice for
if
new.
you have to get a good lawyer.
If you have to, or get in the union, the musicians
musician,
union, or anything like. Good lawyer is a very good like investment, and like being a part of the union is a good investment, but solely even for that one reason. But yeah, I think it's just that it's just not easy, and like getting to a point where you can live stress free with your own art, it's so hard, and it can take so much time that it's no use, like if you don't absolutely have to do it, because there are so many like good and so much easier options and less stress-free options of like living and like living your life and doing, and you can always of course do music as a side thing or a hobby or whatever. Obviously I'm not saying that like being a doctor or whatever is easier than being an artist, of course not, but it's like you go to your job, you get paid, and that's it. As an artist, it's never that. It's never gonna be that. You get paid when you are able to deliver this thing, and it's always living this kind of stressful life of if you can deliver it. So that's kind of, I think, the point. And always the like all the traveling and everything, it's a lot of pressure. And also so many other people rely on you when you are in like a higher position, kind of like when you have people who take care of your things, you also are in like you're responsible for them. Kind of.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to making art that, you know, people who don't try to make professional art don't really get about it, like what goes into it and everything. And, you know, there's this conception that like art is somehow lazy or something like that. And it always kind of hurts me when I hear things like that, you know, usually people who have something that they need to express as art are people who've been through things. So
true.
There's like art does not, like good art does not generally come from people who have la-di-da lovely lives.
That's true. It's very often that you have suffered through some very dark things or like challenging, complicated things, and that's what you draw from, whether it's like writing about the depressing things or the more like positive side of things, which I like to do at this point a bit more, like trying to kind of make the bad things better by writing them better, kind of thing. But yes.
I kind of get that. Like, I feel like if we compare like music to like fantasy writing, which is largely what I do, like the big series that I want to start releasing soon is set in a better world. And the whole point was that I feel like the world that reflects our world has been done to death. We've seen a thousand Game of Throneses and this and that show off and reflect and are allegories for how crazy and fucked up our world is. But who's showing someone who did it better? And
exactly.
So this is sort of like my old school utopia, but still stuff happens because life is still always about survival and struggle. So even if you live in a beautiful world that's like a political utopia, you're still gonna have conflicts with people or creatures because it's fantasy or whatever, but you know, so like that was what I was craving. And also like better romances, not just like will they won't they, like will they won't they is so done to death, and I wanted to see something different, and since I didn't see it, I had to start making it.
And that's kind of like exactly I think what we are doing. Like whenever I face something that I think is not okay, maybe I'll write a song about that, like how I would make it better, or like write a new ending to what happened, or somehow just go through the event like in a therapeutic way when I write the song. And that's how I like process like those bad memories or things that happen around me. And I think UDF is partly something like that very much as well, like being very sexualized and then kind of writing a song about that, like, fuck you, I'm not your sex object kind of thing. Exactly.
I love that. And again, that's why I'm starting to appreciate bands with some sort of like concept or niche or whatever so much, because even if perhaps that makes for a more narrow audience, it's like somehow like a deeper connection that you get to it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's more interesting, like having those multiple layers of things.
Absolutely. Well, starting to wrap up then, just you said you have a show coming up later this year. What else do you guys have going on? What's coming up in the future for you?
We are currently working on our second single, and obviously a lot of songs, like other songs as well. But mostly, I think that second single and the gig that's coming in Helsinki somewhere in a couple of months, I think.
Awesome. Now, my last question, because I think everyone's tired of being asked for last words, is that if you could share one thing that you've learned on your journey, your musical journey, obviously, that you think would make the world a better place if other people would also learn this lesson, what do you think that would be?
I know mine. Do you know?
Yeah.
Okay, trust your gut is my answer because
I have the same.
because I
Artistic soulmate.
Yeah.
because I feel like whenever we have like trusted too much like other people, everything has like gone wrong.
Yeah.
But when we have listened to ourselves and what we actually think about, it's always led to good things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, don't lose yourself. Trust your gut. That's the most important part.
Wonderful. Well, that's it for my questions. Thank you so much for this much longer than normal interview.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
Yeah.